intends to rehabilitate the Namutumba Budumba Busole Butaleja Road so that our people can travel safely. Now, honourable members, when we had the locust situation, we used to get a weekly report. But since this COVID began, we have not had reports from the government. So I now want to direct that every week the Prime Minister should come, or his representative, and give us an update on the situation so that we know what is going on. Thank you. Let's go to item 3. Item 3.
Madam Speaker.
Item number 3, statement by ministers.
Madam Speaker, procedure. Procedure, Madam Speaker. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. It's a fortnight now, Madam Speaker, that I have been going through the worst time of my life on planet Earth. And Madam Speaker, this specifically dives into the unfortunate attack on your person, and by extension, the attack on this parliament. Madam Speaker, a name is everything. You lose a name, you lost everything. We can recover lost money. We can recover lost investment, but we can recover name. Madam Speaker, you're the head of this great institution. You work so hard for your name. Everybody called a young woman in this country looks up to you. The first female lawyer, the first person to open the lower chambers, first female speaker, and the first president of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. The list is long. Madam Speaker, it grieves my spirit. There's somebody somewhere sits on a national television and scandalizes your name. A name that you have worked so hard to build. Not only in our country, but globally. Personally, Madam Speaker, I don't take that lightly. Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, it is a worst nightmare to be called a criminal. Moral or morally reprehensible means you're putting somebody in a cluster of criminals. Madam Speaker, an attack on one of us is an attack on all of us. What now defines and describes MPs, both here and abroad? Pigs, dogs, thieves. Madam Speaker, we can't take this no more. We need to restore the dignity of Parliament. First, we need to bring the honor that this House deserves before we can do anything else. And Madam Speaker, I don't want to take a lot of your time. I was expecting that the whole house, grieved and wounded and bleeding as we are, would stand in unison with you, Madam Speaker, and say, we demand nothing but an apology from somebody who sat somewhere and said, Parliament are morally reprehensible criminals. Come on. Madam Speaker, BBC, CNN read the same. Thank God that we are under an international lockdown. The moment you make a trip from here, all they will be seeing not a Speaker of Parliament, not an MP from Kampala, but what we have been branded as. Now, Madam Speaker, as I go to seat, I ask colleagues that you will find the urgency and need to have this addressed as soon as immediately. Madam Speaker, you might be aware both of what we're seeing on TV, that there are some of us, without even your clearance, without even the honor and respect and dignity for this house, already saying MPs should be given 50 billion. As I conclude, Madam Speaker, we are not ready to be scandalized for another time.
Order. Oshabe.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, the member is raising a matter which touches every one of us, and we are all concerned about what the matter is raising, because we are all members of Parliament and we are members of this House. He's raising a very important matter, but he is shy to mention that particular individual, those particular individuals he's talking about. Is in order, Madam Speaker, for him to continue shying around without mentioning names of those people, so that the entire country may know that such and such a particular individual is belittling the third arm of government. Is in order.
Maybe you can explain who those people are.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. And my honorable colleague, Honorable Samba, thank you, my brother. Simple. The person in reference is none other than my good friend and my elder brother, the president of this country. And I want to stop with that. I don't want to be distracted, Madam Speaker. My point is very clear. Now, with 20 million, we were branded as small-scale thieves. Now there is something in the kitchen again called 50 billion. And I wonder how many of us here, among us here, are ready to be called large-scale thieves. And Madam Speaker, the head of state during his campaign said, do you want another rap? And the people said, I don't know what they said. Maybe they said yes. Now here is the question that is clear before us is, do you want another trap? Not a rap, but a trap. Now, Madam Speaker, the reason why I stood here basically is to disassociate myself. I've had enough for tonight. My conscience, I've been wounded emotionally, crippled psychologically, and I'm not ready to be scandalized again. Madam Speaker, I want to encourage this House it is within our means to restore
Wind up.
the dignity, the honor of this great house. And Madam Speaker, there will never be nothing that we can do in exchange. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Tumsabe. What I can say is that the issue of the 50 has not come to me, so I don't know about it. If it does come, we should handle it here officially. Yes, Honorable Semuju.
Madam Speaker, I am moving a motion under our Rule 58M, and this motion deals with motions that can be moved without notice. And M specifically touches on the question of privilege of members of Parliament. The motion I am moving, Madam Speaker, is for this Parliament to collectively express displeasure at the statements, disparaging remarks that the President made against the institution of Parliament, the Speaker of Parliament, and members of Parliament. That's the first part of this motion. The second part is that the Minister of Finance and the Prime Minister must explain to Parliament why they kept silent, yet they are members of Parliamentary Commission. They participate in decisions of the Parliamentary Commission. They must immediately explain to Parliament why they kept quiet when Parliament was being bashed, yet they were part of the decision that was made. The third and final part of this motion, Madam Speaker, is for Parliament to express its displeasure against all the actions that have been taken since this presidential address. Parliament being belittled by, I saw yesterday the Vice President misbehaving, conducting himself like a cartoon. So, Madam Speaker, the two prayers in this motion, one is that this Parliament collectively expresses displeasure at the disparaging remarks made by the head of state, and two, that the Prime Minister and Minister of Finance explain to Parliament why they have kept quiet when a decision in which they participate was being attacked by the head of state. Madam Speaker, I move.
Is it seconded? Seconded? Yes. Honorable, seconded by several members. Yes. 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 Now it's been seconded. Let him justify.
Madam Speaker, one of the responsibilities of this Parliament is appropriation. And this responsibility is constitutional. Nobody can take it away. But even when someone has a complaint, the chief executive who presents here bills for appropriation every year through his ministers is displeased. There is a channel of communication between Parliament and the head of state. I have seen this Parliament, Madam Speaker, sending bills to the President, and he says, this one, I don't agree with it, but he writes back to you. I have not seen him go on radio or on TV to begin attacking the institution of Parliament and the Speaker for passing a bill that he does not agree with. But I have also not seen the head of state portraying members of Parliament like a bunch of greedy people who are not doing anything but just appropriating money for their own use. Madam Speaker, like I said last week, the head of state is the only one in this country that has a residence that is funded. In fact, on TV he said he doesn't even know the price of toilet paper, and how could he have known? He's the only one who has a residence that is funded by taxpayers. And last year, this financial year which we are about to conclude, we appropriated 400 billion shilling for this residence, and then 170 billion shilling for his office. And I don't have to repeat because you are all familiar with these figures. The head of state, by attacking Parliament, created an impression that this Parliament, first of all, does not understand its functions, and two, that members of Parliament are just a bunch of greedy people who are looking for money to go on self-aggrandizement. Madam Speaker, the purpose of this motion is to advise the President that he must use the official channels of communication next time he wants to communicate to Parliament. Two, that Parliament cannot work on the orders of the executive because our Constitution guarantees separation of power. And three, that members of Parliament are actually filling gaps because his government has failed to do even some of the basic things. During this pandemic, I don't know how many people I have fed. I have become an NGO. Every day meeting people at my gate, receiving phone calls, transport those to hospital. There are about 400 ambulances in this country. More than half have been contributed by MPs. Even when the Minister of Finance, through the Permanent Secretary, wrote to us requesting for ambulances to go and help during the COVID, and we surrendered them. These ambulances are not serviced. These ambulances are not fueled. The drivers are not paid. I called ministers one after another, including the one in charge of Kampala. At least provide me with protective gears to the two boys who are running the ambulance. Up to now, they have not got back to me. So therefore, Madam Speaker, the purpose of this motion is to express displeasure at the disparaging remarks made about this institution of the state, but also to advise the President that if he has a disagreement with Parliament, it serves him better to officially express himself by writing to the head of the institution instead of mobilizing or joining a mob of those who are throwing MPs in the mud. We don't expect the head of state to behave that way. That you found people who are abusing him. Madam Speaker, I beg to move.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Honourable members, put the question. Yes, quickly, Honourable Kibali. Well,
Right, Honourable Speaker. Right, Honourable Speaker, I second the motion with just two amendments. The first amendment, Right, Honourable Speaker, is equally to register the disappointment in the chairman of the NRM caucus from the NRM parliamentary caucus, where whenever there is an issue, the chairman, who is the head of state, will invite the NRM parliamentary caucus to go and sit and resolve the in-house. By this time, instead of inviting the NRM parliamentary caucus, he decided to go on media and hammer, including the colleagues that he has been moving along in circumstances of need. So we need to register that disappointment in the amendment. The second amendment, Right Honourable Speaker, we took the guidelines that we are given and the money as we were given by the parliamentary caucus. When a member, the Parliamentary Commission, Right Honourable Speaker, when a member of the Parliamentary Commission that gave us guidelines and gave us the money takes back the money and says, according to the directive of the President, not the Parliamentary Commission, where is a member, and they sat and agreed to give us money. It's a betrayal of the highest level. So I need to add in that one in the amendment, that we are equally very disappointed with the member of the Parliamentary Commission that gave us money, and for him he betrayed us and he took money on the guidelines and the directive of the President. Raise order. Put order. Right on. Right Honourable Speaker, I can only answer when you say I.
But it's not a secret. You mentioned.
Right Honourable Speaker, the person who returned the money was seen by everybody, and the social media and every media ran that. This is nobody else but the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, who is among the two heads of this institution. So, Right Honourable Speaker, to us, that was betrayal of the highest level in this institution.
Thank you, Honourable Otto. Otto Gonzaga. Achidri. Otto.
Madam Speaker, I wish to second the motion. I've been in this parliament since 2001. I have not worked anywhere else. This is the only place I have worked in. And it may be my last address as well. I am now unemployable. Madam Speaker, since 2001, when I joined this institution, first, the parliamentary commissioners were elected by members of parliament. I think over the years, when multipartyism came into play, we did a big mistake to start allowing parties to designate those who should be members of the Parliamentary Commission. Now we have a situation where there is only one voice speaking for the institution. That is the Right Honourable Speaker, Rebecca Kadaga. Elected by members, but the commissioners, they are now going for other meetings informally, and then they say they should form another COVID constituency task force. There is already a COVID task force in the village. So I really want to associate myself with the motion and assure the President that he is not the only elected leader in this country. We all live on people's votes. Our business is that of making votes and using people's votes to give the very reasons people promised. So an attempt to undermine the institution of Parliament is an attempt to undermine even some of us. For me, I returned the money. Not because it was a bribe. It was not a bribe. But because I don't want extra baggage. I can talk with authority. And members of Parliament should choose the path which they want. They should choose the path which they want. Madam Speaker, this fight is bigger than what I see. This is a bigger fight. I'm always accused of being frank. You can continue accusing me until I meet my God. The fear is that the Speaker has potential of being the President of this country. That is where the problem is started. And I can assure you, if you have a problem, you can block your ears. The Right Honourable Speaker has full potentials of being the President of this country. So they are finding whatever means possible to undermine her hard-earned achievements. And they are throwing members of Parliament together with the Speaker. So, Right Honourable Speaker, as I sit in supporting the motion, I would also want to move that we amend our rules of procedure and we provide for election of parliamentary commissioners. It should be added in that motion. And secondly, Honourable Speaker, the three arms of government are not agreeing. The President is playing full-time politics. The court has amended their order and added only 2 words. They added only 2 words. The order remains there. When I was leaving law school with General Moses Ali some years back, We were taught at law school the procedure of challenging a valid court order. Madam Speaker, I'm worried. You are the head of this institution, and I respect you very much personally. But there is an existing court order. And a court order cannot be challenged by letter, by word of mouth. The fact remains there is an existing court order. And I heard many members of parliament saying they were not represented in court. All suits against government, the Attorney General must be represented. And in this case, the Parliamentary Commission was represented because of the members of parliament. So I'm worried we are going to see a situation where the court order remains valid. This is a valid court order. So you don't follow the court order at your own risk, but it's a valid court order. The only person who has managed not to follow a court order and go away with it is Joseph Kony, because they cannot get him. They cannot get him. So other than supporting the Speaker, which I support, we have to be advised by the parliamentary commissioners what steps you are taking, what steps our legal department is taking to offset that court order. Otherwise, I support the motion, and I fully support the Speaker with all my might, with all my soul, and I can even choose to nominate her for a bigger office. What are you talking about?
Okay. Honourable members, I wish we could concentrate on the motion and not go into other things. But what I can say is that the court order has been amended by the Secretary to the Treasury on 2 occasions. He has issued guidelines about that issue. He has also issued other guidelines in relation to the same issue. So for the first time, we have a subject where the 3 arms of government have made an order on the same issue. The Parliament, the Executive, and the Judiciary on the same issue. This should be a case study in jurisprudence. 2 minutes.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. And indeed, I'm a student of law, but I will not take that side. Honourable Speaker, whenever members see me putting on my rosary, they love me so much, and they continue calling me Omucatholic, and it gives me a lot of pleasure. But I remember when we came when we came back for Parliament, because that was my second term, as I supported the motion members, I was among that task force that strongly campaigned for the Right Honourable Speaker, Rebecca Kadaga. And I said a lot of words, but my God was speaking to me that such things do come in the future, where we do have government and only one person could respond to the president, and that's Rebecca Kadaga, the speaker seated in front of us. Right Honourable Speaker, I want to put this on record. We are getting information. Parliament appropriates. Even in the Public Finance Act, where you want to go for environment, still you have to seek authority from those people concerned. But what we are getting, that must have annoyed the fountain, the president of this country, is because Parliament wanted to get some money from defense to Ministry of Health. He became annoyed. But I worked in the army for 10 years, got to military police and find out my record. I taught there. I slept at the court martial. Those uniposts there. Soldiers are not so happy about their payments. There is classified expenditure. Soldiers are not given money. They are working now. They are not paid well. Policemen are crying. Even when I'm leaving home, they say the same. Then, when someone gets in the educational psychology, madam, there's what we call suppressed aggression. Honourable members, a husband and the wife can have a quarrel at night. The man beats the wife in their bedroom, but children will not get any information about the fight. Then a young boy of 3 years is found taking a milk from her mother's cup. The mother kicks the boy. Why are you drinking from my cup? And as the child is seeing the milk pours, the cat comes in, takes the milk because it has poured on the floor. Then the child also, because
please conclude.
Madam Speaker, the child he gets annoyed with the cat at home, which has started taking the milk on the floor. He kicks the cat. Now the cat ends up scratching the tree with all the anger from the mother, the child, the milk. The cat takes all the anger to the tree. We have a situation here where people are getting annoyed with the work of Parliament, and they bring all their suppressed aggression on members of parliament against their political divide. We should not support this. Let us fight this kind of situation. I was so surprised when I was listening on radio, Madam Speaker, that the Minister of Finance, Matia Kasaija, was denying knowledge of what took place in Parliament. And when he was asked, what did you take the 20 million? He said, yes. What did you do in it? I bought Porsche for my voters because I want to win next term. Now, that kind of contradictory statements is why I'm supporting Honorable using Nganda's motion. And honorable members, most of the members of the NRM side, there is a ploy to see you not coming back here. And it takes place at this particular time. We saw it in the 9th Parliament. We are seeing it now. Please, go and work for your people, as the Speaker told us. I'm among those people working for my people. Go and concentrate on your constituencies, but don't allow Parliament to be belittled by the fountain. Don't allow. I am a member of the Appointments Committee. I know what ministers say when they come to the Appointments Committee. We cannot reveal it here. But it's so disappointing that after they have taken over offices, they start frustrating the works of the Speaker and Parliament. Madam Speaker, I'm going to pray for you. In Masaka, we have a person called Ngobia. In my area, we have a sister who is going to have who is going to be declared a saint. We are going to pray for you. Continue answering issues that are against the government, that are promoting Parliament and the people of Uganda, and we shall be behind you. Nobody should intimidate you. Because
Thank you, Honorable Salira. Honorable Salira, then Esiangu, and then Achidru. Two minutes, please. Okay. Take that seat.
I stand to support the motion by the Honorable Semuju Nganda, Right Honourable Speaker. It keeps going off. Right Honourable Speaker, when this matter came on the floor of the House, the appropriation bill, and this entire supplementary budget, I was in the House that day. The Honorable Isaac Isanga Musumba even proposed that the budget be passed without debate. And he's a minister. Yes, he's here. The Honorable Isaac Musumba Isanga. And his proposal received a lot of support on that day. A member of the cabinet. Ironically, some cabinet members were on TV distancing themselves from this money and this motion. That's part of the confusion. But Right Honourable Speaker, when we are talking about separation of powers, we need to be very clear. The President presides over the executive. The Chief Justice presides over the judiciary. Right Honourable Speaker, you preside over Parliament. At no time shall we surrender our authority to the executive. At no time should the executive direct Parliament on what to do, how to do it, and when to do it. So it is important, Right Honourable Speaker, for the three arms of government to respect their constitutional spaces. If the President wants to take advantage of the situation, he is free to do so. But Right Honourable Speaker, as Chinua Achebe says, if the House has fallen, you don't ask whether the ceiling fell with it. Right Honourable Speaker, we will have fallen. That's why it's important for us to stand behind you, and I am glad that finally this motion has come. We have nowhere to go, we have no choice but to stand behind you. Anybody denigrating the Speaker, and by extension denigrating Parliament, and we follow that person who is denigrating the Speaker, we are making a very big mistake. Finally, Right Honourable Speaker, it is also good for the President to explain to the country how appropriation bills come before this House. Because the impression being created that this bill emanated from the House. It is not true. This appropriation bill, the supplementary budget, was a creature of the executive. If there was money in that supplementary budget for Parliament, then Mr. Museveni should explain to the country that that was the responsibility of the executive, not to portray Parliament as being greedy. Right, Honourable Speaker, I returned the money as directed by you and court, because you gave us guidelines, and the court gave us guidelines. There were options. I don't think there's any MP who has eaten that money. I am very sure every MP here has spent more than 20 million shillings. So the impression being created by Mr. Museveni that we are greedy, it is morally reprehensible, is actually not correct. Let him go to our constituencies and find out what we have done. It is far beyond the 20 million shillings. So I think it was unfair for the president to make statements that brought disrepute to the image of this parliament, and I am aware, Right Honourable Speaker, that this parliament has supported the president. 95% of the bills that the executive brings before this honourable house are passed without question. In very few instances do we find the president, in very few instances does the president return here bills with the reservations on certain provisions. But even when there are reservations, they are always considered. I don't know why this time round is so unhappy, does not regard Parliament, by the way, as an essential service. I remember, Right Honourable Speaker, you did direct the Prime Minister to give MPs stickers. They were not given. Each time the President addresses the nation, he talks about essential services. You are not. So in as far as this COVID fight is concerned, you are like a missed call on a public payphone. Just irrelevant, which I think, Right Honourable Speaker, is not right. I think really this is the time for Parliament to assert ourselves, to redeem our image for our own good. I thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Esiangu, honourable members, you know this non-essential service is the one which has, despite everything, started to process the budget for the Republic of Uganda. We, the non-essential service, we have done that despite all the problems. Passed the laws despite all the problems. Honourable Esiangu.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I stand here to vividly support a motion by Honorable Semuju. Madam Speaker, the timing of this attack in this House, members, you need to be very cautious. We are soon entering into an election period, and we need to be very careful when we are reading through these issues. Madam Speaker, attack on you is attack on us and that House, and we shall not tolerate it. We are going to speak whatever we can to make sure that we defend you. We have to stand with you. Madam Speaker, this one I guarantee you. The members generally are not happy with what has happened. But Madam Speaker, this House should not be used for fighting personal wars. I think the people who are advising the president are not giving him good information. And if they're using it to destroy you, your image is very clear. It speaks for itself, Madam Speaker. I am proud because I know you are one of the architects that is making this country to stand strong. Your achievements are cutting across. Nobody is doubting about that. So, Madam Speaker, we know you are going through a very difficult time, and the House at large. But I want to cry, I want to plead, I want to pray with the members that please, our cardinal role is clearly spelled in the Constitution. Our role is to appropriate. That is our role. There is nobody who can do that. It is only this House that has the authority. And if people begin questioning how we appropriate, first of all, this bill was brought with the consent of the minister. The Prime Minister is a member of the Commission, and the Minister of Finance. The President signed this bill before. If he was not happy, he should have not signed it. And in any case, Madam Speaker, if you had dialogue with him, I think that was good enough to harmonize the position. But the way the President came out was not good. Even after what you have discussed with him and you communicated to us came out clearly in the public, how dare could you really call us reprehensive? It is totally uncalled for a head of state to discredit this House to this level. And it is a very strong damage that he has caused to us that we have to clean ourselves. So members, we need to do this together. We need to be very careful. Even what we have appropriated right now that has gone to the districts, it's not creating an impact. We are already getting reports there are problems in the districts. Some districts in the north, they are not even spending this money. So you ask yourself, how is the intervention creating an impact? So these are all issues that we need to discuss squarely and across the board. But Madam Speaker, we need really to step our game up and continue doing what the Constitution mandates us to do. And we continue to do that with fear, without fear and favor, because we know we are doing the right thing. There is nobody who's going to intimidate us to back down, because that is our role. Whether the public is getting excited against us or not, we shall have time to explain this, but the truth of this matter will come out. And members, especially those of the NRM, we know we are going into an election. Let's treat carefully and make sure that we defend the rights and freedoms of that House. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Chidri. Then Oshave and Nagomo. Where is it?
Thank you, Right Honorable, for this opportunity. I stand here to support Honorable Semuju's motion, and I'd like to observe a few things as we debate this motion. Right Honorable, when I heard His Excellency lambasting honorable members of Parliament on all the national television stations, I was not shocked. I expected it. I think he only delayed because he was trying to measure the public reaction and trying to see how he can position himself, whether to go with the public or to go with his legitimately elected members of Parliament. But I want to say this. As we debate this motion, we should also begin to reflect carefully on our parliamentary system, because I would have preferred a system like the one of South Africa, where we can interface with President Museveni in the Parliament, because that is where we can exchange ideas. It is not in the caucus, where debate does not ensue like in the Parliament. A lot of the statements he has made out there, we are not able to counter him. He needed to be taken head on based on the issues he had raised. But unfortunately, he is far away from us. And we often vent our anger on people like the Right Honorable Prime Minister, when indeed the person we should be challenging through debate is His Excellency the President. The issues he raised out there, we should have challenged them in the House. This is where I feel more comfortable challenging him with his ideas. Number two, we should respect, as other colleagues have stated, the separation of powers. Right Honorable, you have done a very fantastic and wonderful job as far as my 4.5-year tenure as a member of Parliament is concerned. I have no doubt in your abilities in defending this institution, even in a very shaky democracy. In a shaky democracy, in my opinion, because we have witnessed a lot of interference in respect to the work of Parliament by the executive, occasionally by the judiciary. Now, if we don't respect each other, it is going to be a little bit difficult for us to move forward. So therefore, as a member had alluded earlier, I don't know why the President didn't prefer the caucus to air his anger, disagreement, and so on. He decided to go open, and he has indeed painted us black as MPs. He has really got tons and tons of black paint and has painted us black. That's what President Museveni has done to our reputation. However, we cannot say we have lost everything. Just, can I conclude? in respect to what the president did. One, I feel some of his directives are not backed by law. For me to take money and just hand it over to an RDC as if I'm a balloon van is very unacceptable. Balloon vans are owned by Bank of Uganda. A member of parliament is not a balloon van. Just to take money and hand over to an RDC, to me is not right. So therefore, I will return the money to the Parliamentary Commission. That is what I will do. And that is what I think is right as I protect my integrity. Finally, we all know that corruption is almost defeating the government. If it has not defeated, because we continue to lament, but public money is lost, I'm humbly requesting the president to focus his energy where he really knows that money is being stolen. I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Shave, 2 minutes, and then Nagomo. About.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
2 minutes, please.
Right Honorable Speaker, we are all aware that our government never wanted this House to continue when they started declaring about COVID. We want to thank you that you stood your ground, that we have work to do as Parliament, and so far we've shown this government that we are not only sitting here, we sit here to transact business mandated to us in the Constitution. Madam Speaker, I want to support Honorable Semuju's motion because it's very unfortunate for a head of state to sit in one of his talk shows to start lambasting Parliament. Really? Where he even mentions that I met the Honorable Speaker. Then what if you met the Honorable Speaker, whatever you discuss, handle it at that level? Then you go in the public and you start doing politics? Madam Speaker, this is very unfortunate, and it was very unfortunate of a head of state. Madam Speaker, the district task forces that were established, commanded to be established, we are aware. These are election task forces of the president. The RDC, the DISO, those are the people who command the things at our districts. Not even the district chairperson is considered. It is President Museveni's task forces, campaign task forces, RDC, DISO, GISO, that's the group that is there handling COVID. Despite people who were appointed, Madam Speaker, despite them, they were appointed not based on knowledge on how to handle matters, but because of friendship with the president. Madam Speaker, the only money that has reached Kasanda, the only money that has reached Kasanda for the people of Kasanda is the 20 million that was appropriated here. The only. People are suffering, Madam Speaker. We have taxi drivers who were supposed to be working and they were the first victim. Border riders, they are there in Kasanda. The women who are selling food in the evening, they are there. They have nothing to eat. And out of the 60 billions, they failed even to reach Kampala. Even people in Kampala are crying. We stood here, we spent an entire week. We spent an entire week as members of Parliament asking this government that let us prioritize food for our people, for the rest of the country. This government was adamant, Madam Speaker, and the president had no moral authority whatsoever to talk about members of Parliament who are crying to feed their people in Kasanda. Madam Speaker, I support the motion of Honorable Semuju Nganda by saying the president was very wrong, and we must protect this House. Thank you very much.
No, Nagomo. Where's Nagom? Nagom then a vote.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, our mandate of appropriation is drawn from Article 155, subsection 4. Right Honourable Speaker, what has disturbed my mind is the 50 billion which has been mentioned about here for the members of parliament. Right Honourable Speaker, we have our own here, whom we have lived with, we have encountered, who is none other than the Honourable Minister of Finance. Right Honourable Speaker, any expenditure of public money must pass through this House. Can, through you, Right Honourable Speaker, can the Honourable Minister of Finance clarify on that money? I beg, I thank you.
Honourable Member, I don't know whether we should talk about that money. I don't know about it. I have no official information. I have no official information about it. About.
Madam Speaker, I also join my friends in the same sentiments that have been made. But Madam Speaker, just as colleagues have said, this House needs a lot of respect. I was also concerned, and I think it should also be made clear, the motion that has been brought, that even some members within this House have also gone outside to say that we were given this money as a bribe. And they are members of this House. While His Excellency will also tell us why he threw our names into public odium, these very members of this House, Honorable Kyagulanyi Robert, who have also gone into the public, into the media, and said that we were bribed. We want him also to explain, because with me I was not bribed at all, whether this money was given to us to be bribed and he's also a member of the House. That is my concern. And he should also come out clearly and tell us why he also said that.
Honourable members, I put the question that the question be put. Those in favour say aye, the contrary no. You have it. Put the question that this House should adopt the motion. Those in favour say aye, the contrary no. You have it. Item 3. Minister of Education.
Item number 3,
quickly.
statement by ministers, Minister of Education.
If we could just use 5 minutes or less.
Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable Members, this is a statement on the incomplete construction works and destroyed classroom roofs at Sigulu Seed Secondary School. Madam Speaker and Honourable Members, this August House requested the Minister of Education and Sports to respond to concerns over incomplete construction works as well as infrastructural damages at Sigulu Seed Secondary School. Under the World Bank-supported APL1 project, Sigulu Seed Secondary School was earmarked to receive infrastructure that included 10 classrooms, a library block, a science laboratory block, and 3 blocks of 5 stand-lined VIP latrines. The contract for these works was awarded to MS Ebron Investment Limited at a sum of Uganda shillings 592,262,000 shillings only. The project guidelines, Madam Speaker and honorable members, required that funds amounting to the contract sum for the project be disbursed to a given school in 2 equal installments for better financial management. A school would account for the first half of the funds released before the second would be affected. Madam Speaker and honorable members, for Sigulu Seed Secondary School, the second installment of funds had not. Madam Speaker and honorable members, for Sigulu Seed Secondary School, the second installment of funds had not been released by the time of project closure because the earlier disbursement had not been fully absorbed and accounted for by the school. Whereas the signed contract for works at this school required works to be completed by 7th June 2013, the contractor was not able to deliver within time. Extension were granted, but eventually 31st July 2014 was set as the date by which all project implementation activities nationwide under this project were to be concluded regardless of the status. Consequently, Right Honorable Speaker and members, a number of schools, including Sigulu Seed Secondary School, were left with incomplete structures. It was also resolved that unspent monies would be remitted to the consolidated fund under this project, and government would be responsible for completion of all pending works. At Sigulu Seed Secondary School, Right Honorable Speaker and members, the school further attempted to roof the incomplete classroom blocks and put them to use. Unfortunately, these roofs were blown off under heavy rain towards the end of last year. Madam Speaker and honorable members, under the development of secondary education program, the Ministry of Education and Sports is under phased completion of these works starting in financial year 2019-2020. We intend as a ministry to undertake a comprehensive intervention at Sigulu Seed Secondary School under this program. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, I beg to submit.
Does Honorable Abbott have a supplementary? But Minister, 2019-2020 is about to end. The financial 2019-2020 is about to end. 2 months. Will you have done something the month? Honorable Abbott.
Madam Speaker, I thank the Minister for that explanation. But I think what I should advise is that when Hebron, which was the company that took the project for construction, came to the islands, the program was that you do construction, and then there was another company that was supposed to come and give certificate how the works are continuing. Now this company that was hired by government to come and do so took time to come to the islands, and Hebron had nothing to do. Now that the minister is saying that I think they are going to do more work to complete, it is high time because the islands are hard to reach and hard to serve. I just request that that one be done, because, Madam Speaker, sometimes the promises are made before the floor of Parliament. Years come, years go. The islanders are in need to make sure that all these classrooms are complete so that they are put to use. Thank you very much.
33, Minister of Education.
Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable Members, this is a statement on the need for affirmative action quarter on the higher education students financing scheme to specifically accommodate applicants from northern Uganda whose education were disrupted by decades of insurgency, and yet the current financing scheme excludes applicants above the age of 28 years, raised by Honourable Jonathan Odur. Madam Speaker and Honourable Members, the Higher Education Students Financing Board was established in February 2014 by an Act of Parliament with a mandate to provide loans, among others, to disadvantaged Ugandan students to pursue higher education. In awarding loans, the board takes into consideration the aspect of regional balance, and for the current academic year, 100 slots were given specifically to northern districts of Uganda, bringing the total number of successful applicants to 225 out of 465 that applied from northern Uganda. Through this effort, the northern region achieved a 48.4% success rate, which was the highest as compared to Central, 43%, Eastern, 42%, and Western at 33%. Right Honourable Speaker, the scheme does not discriminate against applicants based on age, gender, religion, and any other demographic factors. Regarding the age limit, it is not true that the scheme excludes applicants above the age of 28 years. The program is open to all Ugandans who have been admitted for an accredited course in a chartered higher institution of learning. Madam Speaker and Honourable Members, I beg to submit.
Thank you very much. I don't see Honourable Drew. Let's go to item 33. Supplementary? Honourable Bala, okay, Honourable Bala.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank the Minister for the statement. I am just, as we know, all the universities in this country are being registered and supervised by the government of Uganda through National Council for Education. Why are we discriminating other universities from benefiting from this program? I want the Minister to tell me why chartered, not the others, and yet all of them are under registered by the government of Uganda. I thank you.
Minister? No, only one supplementary. Only one. We've had one supplementary.
Right Honourable Speaker, to respond to Honourable Bala, a chartered institution or university is what would ordinarily be called a legally recognized. So, as long as the university operating in Uganda is legally recognized, all students are beneficiaries. So the word chartered stands for legally recognized. Yes.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. The information I thought I would give for the benefit of the questioner, Right Honorable Speaker, in Uganda, university goes through 3 stages before it becomes a fully-fledged accredited university. You have a university project, which lasts about 3 years, when you apply to the National Council as intending to start a university. Then they give you what they call a provisional license, on which you run for another 3 years. The council comes and assesses you to see whether you are able to be fully fledged as a university. Now, when you satisfy the quality assurance standards of the National Council of Higher Education, then they accredit you to be a fully fledged university. That's when you are chartered. So to be chartered means you are an accredited, fully fledged university, and the charter is given by the president. So it's only fair that government money is given to fully accredited and chartered universities. The other universities are still going through a process. The other universities are still going through a process of standing on their own, because, Right Honourable Speaker, by our own Universities and Other Tertiary Institutions Act, a university has capacity to create and procreate knowledge, and therefore they have academic freedom. So the National Council of Education assesses them until they are fully grown, and then they charter them and they are fully accredited. Thank you.
Item 33.
Item 33, statement by Minister on the alleged unwarranted intimidation and harassment of a health worker at Idiofi Health Center 3, Arua District.
Minister for Presidency.
Right Honourable Speaker and honourable members, at the 34th sitting of the 3rd meeting of the 4th session of the 10th Parliament of Uganda held on Tuesday, the 14th of April 2020, Honourable Atiku Bernard raised a concern over the alleged unwarranted harassment of the health worker at Idiofi Health Center 3 by the Deputy Resident District Commissioner of Arua. This was the health worker who had, on the 9th of April 2020, wheeled a patient to Arua Hospital after failing to secure an ambulance from Arua District Task Force on COVID-19. It is for this reason, Right Honourable Speaker, that I stand to present a response to this August House touching the introduction, detailed explanation, and then the conclusion. Right Honourable Speaker and members, Article 203 of the 1995 Constitution of Uganda as amended provided and provides for the Resident District Commissioner, who shall, among others, monitor the implementation of government services at a district, to advise the district chairperson on matters of national nature that may affect the district, all its plans and programs, and particularly in a relation between the district and the government. Right Honourable Speaker, in addition to the above, constitutional duties, His Excellency the President directed the resident district commissioners to chair and coordinate the district COVID-19 response task forces in their respective districts. Right Honourable Speaker, any RDC who effectively and efficiently performs his or her coordination role in combating COVID-19 pandemic is an agent for better service delivery. Our experience has shown that many of our field officers, despite the logistical challenges, are doing a great job. They are therefore directly contributing to the attainment of the constitutional duty bestowed upon them by the President and Article 99 of the Constitution, which enjoins the President, among others, promote the welfare of the citizens. A detailed explanation of the alleged unwarranted harassment of the health worker of Adiofe Health Center 3 by the Deputy Resident District Commissioner Arua. Right Honourable Speaker and members, although Honourable Atiku Bana did not provide specific details of the Deputy RDC's alleged unwarranted harassment of the health worker, we have since undertaken the following. Right Honourable Speaker, on the 22nd of April 2020, I personally undertook a fact-finding mission to Arua. The mission involved detailed interaction with the Deputy Resident District Commissioner, Madam Alice Akel, as well as the management of Adiofe Health Center 3. My interrogation of the Deputy RDC revealed that on the 12th of April 2020, while attending a district task force COVID-19 response meeting, a matter of social media story in which the nurse had wheeled a patient from Adiofe Health Center 3 to Arua Referral Hospital was brought up. And as a matter of concern, the Deputy RDC and the Deputy DISO went to meet the in-charge at Adiofe Health Center 3 and the nurse in question, but both were off duty. Accordingly, another nurse who was on duty then offered to take the Deputy RDC and the Deputy DISO to the nurse's staff quarter. During the casual interaction with the nurse, the Deputy RDC learned that the incident had happened on the 9th of April 2020, where the nurse, the one Okudinia Doris, wheeled a patient to Arua Referral Hospital. She indicated two scenarios that made her volunteer to wheel the patient to Arua Referral Hospital, which is about 2 kilometers from Adiofe Health Center 3. One, having been put on pressure by the caretakers of the patient, Mr. Yuda Alio, who is now the deceased, to take him out of Adiofe Health Center 3 to the referral hospital for further medical attention. And two, the in-charge of Adiofe Health Center 3 was not around, and Doris wanted to save life in addition to coming back with a wheelchair. Right Honourable Speaker and honourable colleagues, in light of the discussion in 2.2 above, the Deputy RDC posed the following questions. One, why couldn't the nurse wait for the ambulance? Two, what if the patient had died in the hands of the nurse Okudenia Doris before reaching Arua Referral Hospital? Three, what was the motive behind permitting photos to be taken with the patient at the gate of Adiofe Health Center 3? And four, who took the photos? Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, it was later established that the photos were taken by one Nyakun Alfred, a presenter at Radio Passes in Adiofe, owned by Arua Catholic Diocese. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, therefore, the Deputy RDC informed the staff on duty that the photos had gone viral on social media. She requested that the nurse Okudenia Doris come with the in-charge of Adiofe Health Center 3 to clear the misinformation pertaining to the picture and the story, which were then trading on social media. However, the following day, allegations of the Deputy Resident District Commissioner harassing a nurse started to circulate on social media. Right Honourable Speaker, on the 23rd April 2020, after interrogating the Deputy RDC, I visited Adiofe Health Center 3, where I held a lengthy discussion with the in-charge of Adiofe Health Center 3, Sister Lawrence Liminio, and the clinical officer, Jibalu Sukola, and the courageous nurse, our Kudinia Doris. Right Honourable Speaker, Doris proposed that the clinical officer, Awan Sikola, first narrates how the patient was received. Jibal then took the floor and informed me that at around 8:30 a.m. on Tuesday, the 9th of April 2020, at Adiofe Health Center 3, a patient was received, one Yuda Alio, now deceased. He was very ill at that time. After an hour of investigation into the nature of the ailment and the cost implication, the clinical officer at Adiofe decided to refer the patient to Arua Referral Hospital. Initial attempts to persuade the nearby and immediately available promoter of a passenger tricycle, normally called tukutuku, to take the patient to Arua Referral Hospital fell on deaf ears, since the rider feared a confiscation of his tukutuku. It was not until midday that the contact was made with the district health officer, who promised that an ambulance would be sent shortly. Despite the assurances of the district health officer, the health worker, Doris, who was to accompany the patient, waited up to 2 p.m. with no ambulance showing up. At that time, the wife of the patient had become impatient and was complaining loudly. Out of empathy, the nurse offered to roll the patient to Arua Referral Hospital using the facility wheelchair and using the route through the Catholic Church. Right Honourable Speaker, having rolled the patient for about a quarter an hour and approaching a Diofe bridge, the patient requested to rest under a tree shade to shelter from a scorching afternoon sunshine. He, however, was offered a drink. While at rest, the ambulance presumed to have been discharged by the DHO to Adiofe Health Center 3 to take the patient past the health worker and her patient, without knowing that the patient and the nurse they had been tasked to pick had already left Adiofe Health Center 3 in a wheelchair. Out of her own intuition, the nurse convinced the patient that they would hit the road, given that the ambulance, upon reaching Adiofe, would be advised to return in the same direction, and thus pick the health worker as well as the patient, which it never was. The nurse further alleged that 2 other ambulances passed her. We have since established, Right Honourable Speaker, that these had not been dispatched by the Dr. Drileba Bishop, the DHO Arua. Right Honourable Speaker, Arua has several refugee settlements and non-government organizations owning ambulances which could have been dispatched to attend to other emergencies within the same area. Regrettably, upon reaching Adiofe Health Center 3, the ambulance driver sent by the DHO was informed by the gatekeeper that the patient had been transported to Arua Referral Hospital in a wheelchair by a nurse. The driver immediately left in pursuit, but failed to trace both the nurse and the patient. A nurse, on her part, continued with her patient until they made it to the outpatient department of Arua Referral Hospital. She left the patient in the care of the medical officers and returned to Adiofe Health Center 3. In the evening of the 12th of April 2020, the deputy RDC, together with the DSO, visited Adiofe Health Center 3, seeking to meet the in-charge and the nurse. The the nurse being the one who wheeled the patient to Arua Referral Hospital. They did not find her at the facility since she was off duty. Upon return, Doris received information that from her colleagues, that the DISO and the Deputy RDC had wanted to clarify a few issues with her in respect to the matter trading in the social media regarding her wheeling of a patient to Arua Referral Hospital. Right Honourable Speaker and honourable colleagues, naturally, this visit created some anxiety for both Doris and her colleagues, with some suggesting that the health worker would have landed herself into trouble with the COVID-19 task force. It is this anxiety that was fueled by the social media postings of allegations in which the Deputy Resident District Commissioner was reportedly harassing a health worker for wheeling a patient to Arua Referral Hospital. Consequently, the RDC of Arua on the 14th of April 2020 visited Ediofe Health Center 3 to calm the situation. Conclusion. Right Honourable Speaker and members, from the fact-finding mission conducted by my office, as summarized in the ongoing discussion, we have since established that the intention of the nurse, Okudinia Doris, to wheel the late Yuda Ario from Ediofe Health Center 3 was a personal initiative to save life, considering the amount of pressure she had received from the patient's caretakers. The action of the health worker was well-intentioned and driven by a noble cause. At an appropriate time, we intend to request the district authorities for her citation to be submitted to the Presidential Awards Committee for consideration of being awarded a medal. The actions of the Deputy Resident District Commissioners were in line with carrying out her duties regarding the COVID-19 district response geared to protecting the image of the government. The discussion at Ediofe Health Center 3 staff quarters was not meant to threaten the nurse. The whole matter was blown out of proportion by the social media. Right Honourable Speaker, even the Arua Diocese came to learn about the incident through social media and apologized for the inconveniences caused to the district task force. The diocese therefore pledges to improve its communication and collaboration with the district's task force on COVID-19. Right Honourable Speaker, I've learned this afternoon that this courageous nurse, Okudinia Doris, has been awarded a scholarship to pursue a diploma in nursing at Uganda Christian Institute in Leader by Ministry of Health. I submit.
Thank you, Minister. I don't know where Honorable Atiku is. This was Atiku's issue, and I don't see him. 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and I want to thank the Minister for the elaborate statement he has given. But, Honourable Speaker, I'm seeing the Minister defending RDCs, but let me give him one information. In Ibukedia, I'm just getting information from Honourable Anita Among. She offered 2 ambulances to the RDC, Mr. Warugembe. And the RDC refused these vehicles, and people in Ibukedia are suffering, yet the Honourable Member offered in those vehicles. Can you take interest in that? Why is the RDC in Ibukedia refusing vehicles given to him by a Member of Parliament from the same area to help, and he's refusing? So there is a bit of sugar coating on the RDCs, and I have not...
Okay.
Thank you.
Can I also inform the Minister of Presidency that the PS for Health wrote to me and the clerk requesting for the ambulances. Government requested for ambulances. Honorable
Thank you so much.
then Otieno, and then Achidri.
Thank you so much, Madam Right Honorable Speaker. I want also to express that I want to thank the Minister for that statement, but I want also to express my disappointment that she tried to cover up, because you see the whole issue is about the task force which is supposed to have done its work, where the DHO is a member. Madam Speaker, the issue of the patients and the mothers, especially during this COVID time, has been presented here and discussed. I want to give you a short scenario.
Honourable Member, we are addressing the statement made by the Minister.
That's why I'm going, Madam.
The supplementary should arise from what she has said, please.
That's why I'm going, Right Honourable Speaker.
Yes.
I am going on where she is saying the DHO did not send the ambulance in time. And there are so many ambulances now, as the MPs also contributed. That's why I'm saying I personally contributed to ambulance to Zimbabwe district. An incident is where a mother gave twins to 3 kids. And the DHO and the whole staff and the task force was aware in Zimbabwe Health Center 4. They could not transport back this mother of 3 kids who had to stay for 6 days in the hospital. It went on the social media, which is saying that it was blown out of context. At the end, most of the MPs called me. I had to come in with my personal second ambulance, take care of this mother. And they couldn't take her home. What if the mother had collapsed or passed away after postnatal, plus the kids? So my supplementary to the Honorable Minister's statement is that it falls short to mention the actual truth that the task force is not doing all it should do and the health services to our people. I thank you.
Honorable Otieno.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. And I want to thank the Minister for being honest. In the first case, she admits that the nurse was harassed. But that be the case, I want a clarification, Right Honourable Speaker, from the Honourable Minister regarding her assertion on the responsibilities of the district COVID task forces. This afternoon, we have been grappling with the issue on the roles of these task forces. But here is the Minister saying that the district task forces are supposed to protect the government's image. Right now, Speaker, I want to find out from the Honourable Minister, is it the responsibility, were these task forces set up purely to cover up the inadequacies of government so as to save the image of the government, or were these task forces set up to save lives of Ugandans who are suffering? So I need a clarification, because it appears the interest of the government is just to save image, to cover up the shortcomings which we are experiencing in our healthcare system. And that's why this nurse was initially being harassed by the government functionaries. And now the Minister is coming up here.
Thank you. Thank you. You have made your point.
Oh.
Honorable Chidri. One minute.
Thank you, Right Honourable. I thought because Honourable Atiku is not around, I would at least make a comment. I've followed the Minister's statement. The narrative to some extent is logical, accurate, but it misses some facts. For example, she didn't mention the fact that the biological father of the nurse ended up in the RDC's office. It was not only the nurse who was intimidated, the biological father was also equally intimidated. We all know that the work of RDCs is to defend and portray the image of government in a positive manner. But where there are shortfalls, we really need to acknowledge, because this nurse did what was expected of her to save life. And indeed, she was intimidated by the office of the RDC, the deputy RDC. And that should be taken by the line minister to correct those mistakes. More importantly, this should be a lesson to all of us that we need to put the resources of this country where it is needed most. I thank you.
Minister, any comment? No, we have to do other work. If you could conclude, Minister.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable, it is true there are challenges that the district task forces are facing, given the fact that there was suspension of public transport and private transport. Honorable Sawungu, I agree with you. It is true that in the beginning, the RDC of Kedea had rejected the Honorable Among's ambulances. But then I liaised with Honorable Among and I talked to the RDC and things were put right. So it is a continuous improvement that we are putting in place to see to it that we address the issue of COVID-19. Right Honorable Speaker, it is the RDCs have constitutional duties, but now the issue of the COVID-19 has suppressed other responsibilities. Given the fact that they are coordinating and chairing the district task forces, that does not stop them from carrying on their daily duties. So when I say she did it in the interest of the government, much as she went overboard, and I accepted that she went overboard, but my going to Arua was to harmonize the situation. I submit, Right Honorable Chair.
Thank you, and we thank, was the government that gave her scholarship? Was the government that gave her scholarship?
Right Honorable Speaker, I want to inform this House that today, this afternoon, the PS, Minister of Health, has announced that she has been awarded a scholarship to go for her diploma.
So I think we congratulate Doris upon that achievement. I look forward to seeing her on the presidential awards list at the next awards. Item 3.4.
Item 3.4, statement on census of FM radio stations in the country.
Minister of ICT. Not there. Item 3.5.
3.5, on the arrest and brutal torture of Honorable Zake Francis, MP Mitiana Municipality, by security operatives.
Minister of Internal
Actions
Affairs.
taken by government.
Right Honorable Speaker, we did this statement this afternoon. I do hope it is on the iPad. Thank you. Secondly, I would like to correct something at the end. It is 13 pages. The date there should read 7th of May 2020. We apologize for that error. Right Honorable Speaker, on the 5th of May, you directed my ministry to make a statement on the alleged assault of Honorable Francis Zake by security officers. And this statement is made in response thereto. It's a bit detailed. I will indulge members to that I want to go through it so that we understand the gist of events and possibly why we are where we are. On the 19th of April 2020, at around 3 p.m., the regional police commander of Mityana and that area, Kagarura Bob, received information that Honorable Zake was distributing food items and seeing photos on social media platforms. He sent the district police commander Mityana, Superintendent of Police Muine Mukono, to check in the village of Uswabulongo, where it is alleged that the food items were being distributed, contrary to the presidential directives. The DPC did not find any food being distributed then at 3 p.m. and he reported these findings to the RIPC. At around 5:30, the DPC received second instructions from the RPC to mobilize manpower and proceed to the residence of Honorable Zake, and the DPC mobilized the personnel and they proceeded to the residence of Honorable Zake. He was later joined by the RPC and 6 UPDF personnel from the office of the RDC. The team arrested Honorable Zake for undermining the presidential directives on food distribution, and Zake was escorted, and the DPC was escorted by the RDC to the Mityana police station together with Zake. Honorable Zake was later transferred to the Special Investigations Division of the police at Kireka, and the case was investigated and charges of disobedience of lawful orders and negligent acts likely to spread infectious diseases was put on Honorable Zake. However, Honorable Zake was later on admitted in Iran, Uganda Hospital, Naguru, on allegations that he was tortured during and after the arrest. Later, he was taken to Mityana court for plea on the sanctioned charges, but the magistrate advised the state to first treat Honorable Zake before he could take a plea. And when this matter came to our attention, we asked the Department of CID to investigate the matter. And these are the investigations on which I'm basing my report to Parliament. The investigations were, 1, to establish the circumstances that led to the arrest of Honorable Zake Francis. Number 2, to establish whether Honorable Zake was tortured during and after the arrest. Number 3, to find out who tortured Honorable Zake and from where. And number 4, to have the suspects identified and charged in the various courts, either in the disciplinary court or in the criminal courts. The investigator used the following methods. First, they established a general inquiry over the allegations. Second, they obtained a statement from Zake in the presence of his wife, Mrs. Namirembe Brigette, in the presence of his lawyer, David Lewis, and Mr. Joel Senyoni, the People's Power spokesperson. The investigators interviewed and obtained statements from the RPC Wamala region, the senior superintendent I've mentioned, Kagarura Bob, the DPC Mityana Muine Mukono, and the police, all the police officers who participated in the arrest. They obtained statement from the suspects who were in cells where Honorable Zake was detained at Mitiana police station. They obtained statements from the Field Force Unit police officers who escorted Honorable Zake from Mitiana police station to the Special Investigations Division in Kireka. They obtained statements from Detective Inspector of Police Tuesje Hamdan, who was the investigating officer at the Special Investigations Department. They obtained a statement from the Detective Assistant Superintendent of Police Walugembe Musa, who received and authorized for the detention of Honorable Zake at Kireka. They obtained a statement from the Deputy Director of the CID at Special Investigations Department. They obtained statements from other police officers who were present at the Special Investigations Division who interfaced with the Honorable Zake while in detention. They retrieved and analyzed a photocopy of the Mitiana file on where Honorable Zake is charged with the disobedience of lawful orders. They analyzed the CCTV footage of the police vehicles that were sent from Kampala to Mitiana to pick Honorable Zake and analyzed their movements from and to Mitiana and Kampala. They interviewed and recorded a statement from Dr. Kato Edward, a medical superintendent from the Iran Uganda Hospital Naguru, who treated Honorable Zake and retrieved a medical report and a referral letter to Nsambia Police Hospital, grade 4. They retrieved a police form 24. This is P4, which is normally for requesting medical examination of suspects, where Honorable Zake was examined, and the form which was filled by Dr. Nwamana. They analyzed the station diary register for Kireka to determine the time when Honorable Zake was received at the station. They retrieved and analyzed the station diary and the lockup register of Mitiana police station to find out the time when Honorable Zake was detained and when he was booked out of Mitiana to Kampala. They requested the Forensic Services Directorate to retrieve and analyze the Facebook page of Honorable Zake and retrieve the pictures, video clips, and texts on the food distribution. They requested the Executive Director of Mulag National Referral Hospital to subject Honorable Zake to a medical examination to determine his health status. On Zake's statement, this is what he has to say. On the 4th of May, this statement was obtained on the 4th of May. He gave a detailed description on circumstances that led to his arrest. 1, he accepted that he bought food items that included rice, matoke, poso, and distributed them to his village mates on the 18th and 19th of April 2020. He states that he used border borders in food distribution and requested them to take pictures and send them to his Facebook page for accountability purposes. On the 19th of April 2020, he says at around 5 p.m., while he was in his bathroom, he was informed that a group of police officers and army men had invaded his home and were looking for him. He states that the regional police commander and the district police commander found him in his bedroom and arrested him. after breaking his bedroom door. He was he was arrested by his trousers and taken to the waiting police motor vehicles. This is what he says. He also states that police headed by the RPC searched his house, and during the search they stole his 15 million shillings from the bedroom and a phone of his maid. He states that during the arrest, police was filming the whole event using a cameraman he did not know. And he himself, Zake, encouraged the police to continue filming since he was innocent. He alleges that he was put in a police double cabin pickup. The RPC and another police officer and civilians made him to sit between them, and was taken to the police station while he was being punched and slapped by the two officers. He states that he was taken to the police station Mitiana to the office of the DPC and were joined by army officers, and they continued beating him using sticks, kicking him, and punching him. He says that after 30 minutes of his torture, he was taken to the cells, and inside the cells he was surprised to find a woman inside the male cell with a group of about 20 men. This is Zake. He states that when the suspects who were in the cells saw him, they became very happy and began narrating their problems to him. But for him, he did not tell them the torture he had received from the DPC's office. About after 30 minutes, according to Honorable Francis Zake, while he was still in the cell, he had another motor vehicle outside the police station. He was called by the DPC and he told that he was being taken to Kampala. He protested, and also the suspects who were in the cells protested. Honorable Zake says the DPC called the army men who came and used the two pepper sprays. One was sprayed into his eyes, while the other one sprayed on the suspects in the cell. According to him, he lost sight to the pepper spray, and he was brought to the counter, which is outside the cell. At the counter, he found other soldiers, but specifically remembers one called Mulunji Aruna Nsamba, and heard the RPC telling those soldiers in Lonyakole that make sure he doesn't see, implying that they wanted to spoil his eyes. One of the police officers came and sprayed 2 cans of chemicals in his eyes and also tore his shirt. He claims that he was put on 2 pairs of handcuffs and a rope on both hands and the leg. His torn shirt was used to tie his hands. He was then taken to a police pickup. His hands were tied one side of the pickup and the legs were tied on the other side of the pickup behind the crew seats, and it was made to be suspended in space. The motor vehicles were driven to an unknown destination while he was being beaten and punched by people on the pickup. After some time, the motor vehicles reached to a certain place which he thought was a police station. He was untied and he begged for mercy to the people who were tying him. At that time, he was being beaten by many officers. One of them told him that he would see more. He was taken to a huge building and he knew it because of the echo He knew this was a huge building because of the echo. He was given so many number of strokes on his buttocks and the back. On the back and the buttocks. After that, a stick that had something which was piercing was put on his forehead, chest, and legs. After that, he was taken into cells where he learned that the place he was taken in was CMI Mboya, from the inmates he found in the cells. Shortly, he was removed from cells after another round of torture. He claims the officer who interviewed him brought an instrument and pierced his testicles very hard. He was put on a pickup, suspended again upside down, and the motor vehicle drove to another destination. At a place which he later came to know as the Special Investigations Division, Kireka, he was poured on something very cold, which made his body to start itching. On the 20th of April 20, he claims a male doctor came and requested to examine him. Honorable Zake refused, but he was forcefully injected with substances he didn't know. He also claims that he was tortured by Detective Inspector of Police Twesje Hamdan by subjecting him to 30 minutes of torture and 6 hours of rest. Every interval of 6 hours, they would bring him, torture him for 30 minutes, take him for 6 hours. And that he was forced to talk to somebody who appeared to be the President of the Republic of Uganda, who warned him to go slow. This is Zake saying, during the torture, he was forced to talk to somebody who appears to be the President. And the President told him, go slow. This was through Detective Inspector of Police Twesje Hamdan. Hamdan's phone. In other words, he was using that phone number. On the 23rd of April, he was again taken to Iran Hospital where he was examined on P424, as I have said, and treated for his injuries. On the 27th of April, he was taken to court, but he claims that while in the ambulance, he was being touched and harassed by the police officers. Honorable Zake was given a police bond. That is his statement, up to what I've said. That is the statement. On the 29th of April, Honorable Zake was given a police bond where he'd been taken by the police for treatment after he had appeared in court. According to him now, he's in Lubaga Hospital being treated for the injuries inflicted on him by the police. The investigators have the following findings. On the 19th of April, between 5 and 6 p.m., Honorable Zake was arrested, as it was stated, by the combined force led by the regional police commander and the DPC, Mitiana, from his residence at the village, as I stated, in Mitiana municipality, in Mitiana districts, on allegations of lawful orders and negligent acts likely to spread infectious disease. This is what he had said, and is correct. The findings are saying it's true, he was arrested. The other police officers who participated in the arrest included the following: ASP Lumago Sam, who is the OC station Mitiana; ASP Magulu Amir, Deputy OC CID; Wabuire John Eric; other junior ranking officers and detectives from the flying school and from the squadron squad, all totaling to about 17 in number, and 6 army personnel who were part of the COVID-19 Defiance Enforcement Group. This is the number that went to arrest him. Honorable Zake states that on 17th and 19th, it is true he disputed the food, and this was found true by the CIDs. The items which were distributed included sugar, soap, rice, matoke, and maize flour, among others. And he took pictures. This incident has been confirmed by some of the beneficiaries, like one Kiza Mike, Nakiboneka Agnes, Otadi Vincent, and others. On the 19th April 2020, the RPC Wamala region obtained intelligence that Zake was distributing food items, as we have already stated. Since you have the documents, I can skip this one really, and we'll go to the others. They later joined the RPC and the soldiers, like we have said. Now, according to, this is item number 5-6 on the report. According to Honorable Zake, while in the bedroom, Dan, his brother, came and informed him that he was needed by police. The RPC broke into his bedroom and pulled him out of his bedroom. Therefore, there is a need to investigate whether the bedroom was actually broken into. The RPC, however, states that he met Honorable Zake from the sitting room and informed him that he was under arrest for disobedience of lawful orders and negligent acts likely to spread infectious diseases by distributing food to the community against the presidential orders. A search was carried out in the house and compound of Zake. It is true, like he said, there was a search carried out, but what was found was a tapling with the rice droppings, which was suspected to be used during the packaging process, and some kilograms of rice which were still found in the house. A neighbor who had seen the police surrounding the house of Honorable Zake alerted one Matovu Enoch, a journalist with NTV, who came and began filming the whole incident. So according to the police, the person who was filming the whole incident was not with the police, but he was a journalist alerted by the neighbors to say that there is a story developing here, come. As Zake was being led to the waiting police car, he was also filmed by Matovu. Zake was laughing and saying that it was not an offense to give his people food. This picture is being sought and will be obtained to corroborate what happened. Honorable Zake was transported in RPC's vehicle UP 4799, and he was seated in the middle of the RPC and the deputy, Wabwire, as he himself had said. At that time, Honorable Zake was dressed in a maroon pole neck t-shirt, a pair of jeans, and slippers, since he had come from the bathroom. According to Semuju Augustine, Kiza Mustafa, and Wamala Seperito, who were suspects with Honorable Zake in the cells, Honorable Zake was in a jovial mood and did not have any signs of injuries, nor did he tell them that he had been tortured by the police. He only asked their problems, and after narrations, he promised to solve their problems since he was now in cells with them. Thereafter, they began to sing people's power songs. Honorable Zake claims that he had been beaten by the RPC and DPC and police officers on the way to the police station, in the office of the DPC before his detention, something the suspects he found in cells did not mention to the investigators. He also claims that he found a female suspect detained in the cell together with the men who were about 23 in number. This is not true. The records at the police station clearly show that all the 23 persons who were in the cell were male. After Honorable Zake's arrest and detention, there was an effort by supporters planning to come and rescue him from the cells. The RPC requested the Director of Operations of Police for the transfer of Zake to the Special Investigations Division, Kireka. The RPC was later informed by the Commandant 99 Special, Bamzibire, that he had sent 3 patrol cars to escort Honorable Zake to Kampala. He did not specify the place where Zake was to be taken. At around 8 p.m., a team of FFU officers led by AIP Masaba arrived and informed the DPC that they were sent to take Honorable Zake to Kampala. After briefing the DPC and the AIP Masaba, they proceeded to the cells and informed Honorable Zake to move out because he was to be transferred to Kampala. Honorable Zake, together with the suspects who were in the cells, protested, and Honorable Zake refused to move out. AIP Masaba called some of his personnel to help him remove Honorable Zake forcefully from the cells. According to the suspects who were in cells, Honorable Zake held the metal doors of the cells and also placed his leg one side in between the metal bars so that it is difficult for the police to pull him out. The FFU personnel pulled out Honorable Zake by force from the metallic bars that he had held on for support. He was taken to the counter and handcuffed. But while resisting, Honorable Zake, that at the time of his removal of cells, Honorable Zake claims that his eyes were sprayed with pepper, which affected his eyesight, and another tear gas was thrown to the inmates. None of the inmates who were left in the cells confirmed this, and none of them had any evidence of having been sprayed with the tear gas, with the pepper spray. According to SP Muine, Zake resisted being handcuffed. Reasonable force was used to handcuff him, and in the process, his t-shirt got torn. After the police succeeded in putting handcuffs on one hand, he overpowered them, leaving the handcuff dangled in one hand. This prompted them to grab the second handcuff and fix the handcuff. Honorable Zake was therefore handcuffed with the 2 handcuffs, but was only on one side, leaving the other part dangling. According to the SPL, Lomoko Honorable Zake was transferred in the 99 vehicle number 23, which he commanded. It was driven by SPC Kafero, and the crew members were Okolis John, Okirol Julius, Ongwen Michael, and PC Omagol Nelson. He further stated that Honorable Zake was shouting and hitting the metallic seats of the 999 using his arms and legs. According to the DPC, Honorable Zake could not be transported in the double cabin of the RPC because of the violent behavior he had exhibited during the boarding to the vehicle. Honorable Zake alleged that he was tied with arms and legs suspended behind the seats of the 999, facing upwards, and the RPC ordered that he be resprayed in the eyes, and he was transported to Kampala, dangling. According to the DPC, Honorable Zake was transported to Kampala in a convoy of 4 police vehicles, 3999 and Uganda Police 4799. The team delivered Honorable Zake to the Special Investigation Department at 11 minutes past midnight. According to the DPC, Honorable Zake was received at the CID or the SID at 11 hours, and he had 2 handcuffs and hand bruises and bare chest. DPC Eli Omana was briefed by the DPC. He directed Lucky Ochan, head of the clinic, to have him checked and administer treatment, which was done, but against the will of Honorable Zake, as he says. The police have said when he was delivered, there were bruises on him, and therefore the police said he should be treated. On the 21st of April, DPC Detective Superintendent, Assistant Commissioner of Police, Womanya, assigned, Right Honorable Speaker, I'm reading a statement, and I ask you to protect me from the members. If they don't want me to read the statement, I can leave it.
Honour members, we are the ones who asked for this statement.
I'm leaving a statement. You asked for it. Yes. On the 21st of April, Deputy Senior Commissioner of Police, Womana, assigned Detective Inspector of Police Tuesday Hamdan to record a statement from Honorable Zake. Honorable Zake was taken to the boardroom, and when Tuesday requested to obtain his statement, he refused, saying that he was feeling a lot of pain, and he said he could not record a statement without his lawyers. On the 21st, that is the 22nd, the next day, Honorable Zake was examined by Dr. Nuamanya Emmanuel, the Deputy Director, Police Health Services, and later he was escorted by TUSJ to Iran Hospital on the instructions of Okecho Isaac and TUSJ, where he proceeded to the hospital. According to the reports on the form that was conducted by Dr. Nuamanya at Iran Uganda Hospital, it was established that Honorable Zake had blunt injuries. They were on the forehead, the earlobes, the right and left of the chest, right side flank, right upper arm, right wrist, lower lip, left leg, and left leg seam. It was also established from Honorable Zake that the examination was conducted by 3 doctors, Dr. Kato of Iran Hospital, Dr. Sekitoleko, the personal doctor of Honorable Zake, and a police surgeon, in the presence of Honorable Zake's personal lawyer, the Honorable Segona. Honorable Zake complained of chest pain, a broken back, and injuries. Iran Uganda Hospital suggested to carry out an X-ray and scan, but Honorable Zake refused. On the 27th of April, the charges under the Mitiana file 268/20 had been sanctioned. The police officers, who included ASP Okecho Isaac, TUSJ Hamdan, went to Uganda Iran Hospital to take Zake to court. At the time, Zake was putting on a vest and a boxer. According to Zake, he was dressed like that because he was feeling hot. When Honorable Zake learned that he was taken to court, he wanted to proceed in that respect, and yet his wife had carried decent clothes in the vehicle. At the same time, according to Dr. Kato Edward, the hospital also discharged Honorable Zake to see an eye specialist. According to Dr. Kato, Zake was referred to Police Health Center 4 in Zambia, as I've said, for a checkup. Since throughout his admission, he had been complaining of eye sensitivity to light. Honorable Zake was led in a double cabin, which he rejected. A police ambulance was brought. He also rejected it until he was forced to sit in that police ambulance. According to the nurse who was accompanying him, Dagire Tatura, Honorable Zake used the metallic hook in the ambulance to injure him. Honorable Zake was transported in the company of his wife and a nurse, and the detective superintendent of police, Twesije, while he was violent and kept himself on the metals in the ambulance, hence injuring himself on the arms, and he requested for painkillers, and he was put on painkillers throughout the trip. At Mitiana Court, according to Twesije, he instructed Zake to dress up for court. Again, he refused. And this was confirmed by the nurse who was in the same vehicle together with his wife. Twesije instructed to remove him to the court. He refused. This prompted Twesije to mobilize personnel who carried him to the courtroom. At court, His Worship Kakoza Arias ordered the state to first treat Honorable Zake and bring him back for plea. He was later transported in an ambulance provided by his father and was driven back to the SID Kireka. On the 28th, Zake was taken to Kirudu Hospital by Special Investigation Division officers for treatment, as court had ordered. On the 29th, the Director of Criminal Investigations made a request to the Executive Director, National Rescue Hospital, to carry out medical examination on Honorable Zake to determine his health. In the letter, which was dated 30th April of reference administration 10401, the Executive Director informed the Criminal Investigations that a team of 5 specialists were constituted, comprising of an eye specialist, a trauma surgeon, a neurosurgeon, a cardiothoracic surgeon, and 1 senior physician, to examine Honorable Zake in the presence of Dr. Andrew Sekitoleko, his personal doctor. Honorable Zake declined to consent to the examination. This examination has not been done to date. On the 30th of April 2020, according to Twesije, Honorable Muiru requested for a police bond for Honorable Zake on the 30th. Police granted Honorable Zake a bond after he accepted to sign on the police bond. He was later transferred from Kirudu to Rubaga Hospital, where his statement was obtained from on the 4th of May. While his statement was being recorded, Honorable Zake had a cervical collar on his neck. It is yet to be determined whether he has a neck problem or not, because he never claimed having a neck problem while at Irani Hospital and elsewhere. When this analysis was analyzed, these findings were analyzed by the CID, these are the observations. It is true that Honorable Zake had injuries and bruises by the time he was received at the SID Kireka on the 20th April at at midnight. These injuries could be attributed to the scuffle between Honorable Zake being removed at the cell of Mityana to Kampala. There was a scuffle between the police and Honorable Zake when he was being handcuffed at the counter. Honorable Zake alleges that he was tied behind the pickup while dangling. The CCTV footage of the 4 police vehicles which was in the convoy from Mityana to the Special Investigation Division do not show any sub-object dangling out the pickup. About the allegations that Honorable Zake was tortured at CMI, this is the analysis. The time of departure from Mityana police station and the time of arrival at the Special Investigations Division gives a duration, according to what I've read, of 1 hour and 20 minutes. If Honorable Zake was taken to CMI and tortured for 1 hour, as he alleges, the time at arrival at Kireka would have been past 1:20 a.m. hours. Number 2, the CCTV time stamps from Bulenga to Kireka is consistent with the statement of the DPC on the route they followed. From the analysis of the CCTV footage, the vehicles are seen at Bulenga at 11:45:55 seconds, at Mulago roundabout at 11:48 hours, at Kololo at 23:49 hours 53 seconds, at Jinja Road near Jinja Road Police Station at 23:51 hours, at Naukawa traffic lights at 23:53 2 seconds, at near the Vatican Embassy at 23:55 40 hours, and the vehicles are seen entering Kireka at 23:55 58 50 hours, meaning from Bulenga to Mulago they used 7 minutes, from Mulago to Kololo they used 53 seconds, from Kololo to Jinja Road traffic lights they used 2 minutes, from Jinja Road to Nakawa traffic lights they used 2 minutes and 2 seconds, from Nakawa traffic lights to Vatican Embassy they used 2 minutes and 38 seconds, from Vatican to SDI Kireka they used 5 minutes and 48 seconds. The allegation, therefore, of torture or at CMI of 60 minutes does not appear within this time stamp. It could be there, but it doesn't appear within this time frame. Allegation of tortures made all over his body. The police form 24 indicates bruises are on the front part of his body from the head to the legs. It doesn't show similar bruises on the back part of the body, yet Honorable Zake alleges he was tortured the whole body and beaten in the back and the bottoms. The presence of torture marks of the body on the front part and the absence of 60 minutes that Honorable Zake claims he spent at CMI, and bearing in mind that Honorable Zake had a dangling handcuff on him, it is probable that Zake could have been inflicted in the process of the travel. According to statements of the car commander, Honorable Zake kept on knocking himself on the metals of the pickup. It is possible that these injuries were as a result of the knocking. Honorable Zake indecent appearing in court, even though he, Zake, refused to dress decently. Twesije ought to have not carried him to court indecently dressed. This was wrong. The magistrate did the right thing to refuse to take a statement of plea from Honorable Zake. And this is being referred to the police standards unit for necessary action. The outstanding inquiries, Right Honorable Speaker, which need to be done are the following. There is a need to record a substantive statement from Zake's wife on the allegations of theft of 15 million by the police. 2, there is a need to record statements from Zake's maid on the allegations that her phone was taken by the police. 3, there is a need to check with the CMI and other evidence with a view of establishing whether Zake was taken there on the night of 19th April 2020, as he alleges, because so far what is only found is the statement of Zake. 4, there is a need to retrieve phone prints with a view of establishing the person who talked to Twesigye, whom Zake to have been His Excellency the President that wanted to take to Zake at one time. 5, there is a need to retrieve admission medical report of Honorable Zake from Rubaga Hospital, because throughout all these others there was no injury of the neck, but when he's admitted in Rubaga, there's a neck injury. That's the reason these people are giving. To visit a residence, there is a need to visit the residence of Honorable Zake to determine if the bedroom was indeed broken. Finally, according to these people, there is a need to have Zake subjected to an independent medical examination of a team of doctors with his own doctors at the same place to determine the overall health status of Zake. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. Now, honourable members, the statement is very long and it's 5:30. So we shall need to find time for us to make comments. But I wanted the Minister to demonstrate to me just one thing. Under paragraph 5.16, you said that Honourable Zake was handcuffed and was using those arms and legs to meet the metallic seats. If you can demonstrate how someone handcuffed can use both his legs and arms, as you claim under paragraph 5.16.
Right Honourable Speaker, can I get the number?
516.
The number?
Paragraph 516.
516.
On page 9.
Thank you.
We'll get time. Not today. It's 5:30. We are coming.
Yes, the statement, if I can read it again before I go, because I'm reading a statement of the CID.
That's why I'm asking you to demonstrate how somebody who is handcuffed can use those handcuffed arms to beat the metallic doors and also his legs, because you see in your statement.
That's Right Honourable Speaker. The whole of my statement is reporting what the investigations were done so far. Because in your instructions to us on Monday, you asked us what government was done. We asked the investigating officers to investigate. Because I had to make a statement, I'm reporting what they've said. And at the end, I am saying there is a need to do further investigations on these matters. Thank you.
Honour members, we shall debate this statement on Tuesday, but the government will have to account for the 10 days from the 19th to 29th when Honourable Zake was in their custody. House adjourned to Tuesday at 2 p.m. House adjourned.
be cool. Airtel. Be the champion in your community and instant get 3% extra